Greetings. We are still continuing looking at public speaking skills or public speaking, and even in this video, we are continuing. We are going to look at overcoming the fear of public speak, and under this, we are going to look at two things that we are going to concentrate on. One is how can we overcome the fear of public speech and polish our speaking skills, and what can we do to transform this fear of public speaking into enthusiasm and positive energy. And then maybe we shall look at little about what makes people fear public speaking so strong and so debilitating. Yeah, so something like that. Anyway, to start, when let's say you have an opportunity to speak in front of an audience, whether it is 300 people, this is the chance you have to sell your business or your service to the potential customers or clients. So, however, one of the biggest obstacles that many businessmen and women face is the fear of public speaking. According to national surveys and research results, fear of public speaking or glossophobia ranks among the top dreads, that is surpassing the fear of heights, the fear of spiders, and even the fear of death itself. You can imagine how people fear to how people fear this thing, or people fear to speak to large audiences. So just as Jerry Seinfeld put it, like at a funeral, at a funeral, the average person would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. So something of that kind. So by the time someone makes such a statement, you just know how fierce people find this thing according to research. So let's look at the psychology behind fear of public speaking. So psychologists know that the very fact of being in the spotlight often triggers the whole range of physical reactions that we would experience in the fear of real life threatening dangers. Like just being in the spotlight would make you have the same experience like you would have when you're having a real life danger. Let's say you've seen a snake, so the reactions that your body makes are the same reactions that all things you experience even when you're in the spotlight or when you're in front of an audience. So these include pounding heart, dry mouth, shaky hands, shivering voice, cold sweaty palms, stomach cramps, among others. So the recent research can shed more light on that issue. Actually, the MRI scans of the brain showed that the shock and distress of rejection activate the same part of the brain called the anterior cingulate cortex that also responds to physical pain. So you find that these things have the same effect, just like we've seen above. So another study that was conducted by Edward E. Smith, this is research, according to research, the director of cognitive neuroscience at Columbia University, demonstrated that the feeling of rejection is one of the most painful emotions that can be sustained even longer than fear. So it is that serious. So how can these findings explain the fear of public speech? Like what we've seen, the scans showing that distress and rejection activate the same part of the brain, just like physical pain. The research by director Edward E. Smith. So what do those findings explain? How can they explain the fear of public speaking? So first you need to know that if it is painful enough to be rejected by one person. Imagine the pain we could experience when we are being rejected by a large group of people. Of course, our emotions range from being absolutely terrified to very to feeling very uncomfortable. So, our fear, our anxiety and fright before the speech, however, may be caused not by fear of public speaking per se, but by the audience's reaction to our performance. Or put simply, we are afraid that our nervousness will interfere with our ability to perform and we will end up embarrassing ourselves. And accepting our fear helps us to take, like, actually, even before you come to that, uh, let me give you this illustration. You know that normally, uh, when someone is just starting the experience of vibing, ladies, when you're just starting that experience, you find that most of the guys, they feel that fear within them, but not that they fear the lady because maybe he will beat them, she will beat them, or should anything to them, or they don't fear the abuses. Though at times ladies can abuse, which is not which is not good at anyway. According to me, I don't think it is a good idea to abuse someone who has just come to express their feelings. But anyways, uh, sometimes men fear not because of what they would do, but just because of rejection. So the fear is not for what the lady will do or abuse, no, but the rejection. Like, we fear being rejected. So that's what holds us back, even when you're going to vibe. Like, you just have to push and stand and eventually do it, but there is that fear, not because of what, because of the fear of rejection. So it is the same thing even with public speaking. We have that fear that what if I'm rejected by all these people, what will all these people's reaction be to my speech? So that's what causes it. But any otherwise, there is a there is n- n- there is a so that is the main issue anyway concerning that. Just as we be when we are, like it is for men when they're going to vibe, they feel that pullback just because of the fear of rejection. So fear of rejection actually affects people in many ways. Yeah, it even makes people to it even limits people's growth in their career paths if at all you don't fight to overcome it. That fear of rejection can can hinder you from reaching most of your opportunities in your career path. So it is very important to fight it, and that's why it is very important to practice public speaking, because it is one way of overcoming those fears. Then the two biggest myths about fear of public speaking, the two biggest myths. So when it comes to public speaking, there are two common misconceptions that many business owners and leaders fall prey to. One, great public speaking skills are inborn. Like, some people think that great public speaking skills are an inborn talent. Of course, some people find it easier to speak in public than the others, but the majority of successful speakers have trained themselves to perform through persistence, preparation, and practice. So there are people who are born with, like, when they're naturally good at public speaking, or when they're good speakers. Like, for example, last time I was watching TV, and then there was that little girl who was given the chance to advertise for different organizations just because she's good at public speaking. But yet she's a little girl, you get. So some people have it when it is inborn, when they're just, like, when they don't have, when they're not introverts, and they're not, but like they feel free to stand out, you get. Whereas the rest of us, we just have to train, you get. Yeah, so the bottom line is that if you can speak in front of two friends, you can deliver a presentation before an audience. Then the second myth is that some people think that fear of public speaking is negative and undesirable. So this is another common misconception that holds many new speakers back. They believe that Stage fright is a sign of their inadequacy and lack of public speaking skills. This could not be further away from the truth, but it's not really that true. You get, because as we continue on, you will see that actually this perception is not that really true. It is not true as such. So no one escapes the rush of adrenaline that accompanies a presentation in front of an audience. And but the difference between successful speakers and rookies is that they have learned to transform and use fear to their advantage. So what you have to know is that even the successful public speakers, or even those you admire, they also have that fear, like it comes up. What you have to know is that there is nothing like getting used to doing something. You just learn how to handle it. Like for example, personally, by God's grace, I've had a chance to be a worship team member in a certain church where I perform, and we do ministry like the worship team. But for the long of time I've been there, like I think it is coming to 3 years, or like 3 years, yeah, 3 or 4 years, not considering these years of COVID when we've been at home. Yeah, so 3 years, and I've been in that ministry for 3 years. But even up to now, when we are going to have when you're going to do ministry, I feel that nervousness, like I feel the adrenaline, like that too much adrenaline comes and causes that nervousness and some kind of fear, especially when you're going to do the song for the first time. So that thing comes up, even however many times I've done it. So what you have to know that you will never get used to something. You just need to learn how to handle it and how to transform that fear to your advantage. Yeah, so personally, I think according to the number of times I've done it, I guess I've learned. I think I'm somehow good at transforming the fear to my advantage. Anyways, fear is not only a normal reaction to a public speaking event, but actually boosts our performance. Like psychologists agree that some amount of fear heightens your awareness, improves your concentration, and sharpens your thinking and gives you an energy boost. So that's why I say that fear of public speech is, as perceived by some people to be negative and undesirable, is not fully true or right, because that fear is necessary to help us improve our concentration, heighten our awareness, and sharpen our thinking and give us a boost. And even that adrenaline is good to make your voice come out loud. Yeah, not too much of it is bad. Just like too much of anything is bad. Yeah. Anyways, actually, it is fear that allows most speakers to perform better during the actual presentation than during practice. If you've if you've been doing public speaking, I'm sure you've noticed that, because during practice you're just comfortable, do things your way, but during a presentation, yeah, that little fear improves your concentration and sharpens your thinking capacity, as we've seen. So in that way, you perform better during the actual presentation than the practice. So we're going to look at how can we overcome our fear. So it is what we're going to look at very fast, because time is not on our side. So here I'm going to give you some tips, maybe 10 of them, on how you can beat your fear of public speaking. Actually, personally, I used to rank amongst those who would rather pass when it came to talking to the podium. But when I was recently, some time back, chosen, like actually for my first public speaking event, or for my first time to speak to an audience, that was at a Mediterranean hotel, yeah, that side of Serena Hotel, Kololo, yeah, that side. Now it was in an organization, non-profit organization, whereby we're having a meeting with the board members of that organization, and I was given a certain topic to talk about. Yeah, so that was my first time. So it was a great opportunity that I would not miss out. But giving my speech was a great experience, and along the way, I learned a thing or two. Yeah, I'm still a work in progress, but I would like to share with you some few tips that helped me feel more confident when speaking, and those ones that I've got from different encounters, and hopefully they can help you beat the fear of public speaking too. Uh, Number one is prepare. Like, it may sound obvious, but don't wait until you hit the stage to get things together. So take some time to know your audience and get all of your notes together before your big day. So when preparing for these legendary presentations, Steve Jobs would spend days rehearsing and getting feedback. So do something that is worth it. Also, write your material, read your notes, and practice. You get. So you need to make preparation. It helps you, being thoroughly prepared helps you build your confidence. Then number two, understand your fears. So Marty Hattie, the founder of Metafilter, offers an excellent price of public speaking advice. So he says, understand your fears and recognize the biology behind them. So it's important to recognize that it's normal to feel anxiety when there are hundreds of eyes on you. After all, if you're in the wild and there are packs of eyes on you, you're in trouble because you're in the wild. Meaning those eyes are eyes of wild animals. But instead of going with your fears, tell yourself that those eyes don't symbolize trouble because you're in fellow humans. So mm, try to talk to yourself. These eyes don't symbolize trouble, but just that a group is there to learn from me. You get, or is ready to learn from you. You will be okay. So you need to tell yourself, um, there is nothing these people are going to do to you. No, they are not going to beat you. Okay, we understand that they may judge you or you're fearing rejection, but you talk to yourself and tell yourself, convince yourself that actually these people are here to learn from me. Yeah, so I'm okay. I'm done. They are learning from me, so it is me who knows. They're waiting to learn from me. Yeah, so you have to just feel comfortable because they are waiting to learn from you. You're the one teaching them or giving them something to build them. Then three, loosen up. Like, before taking to the stage, loosen up. You can go out with friends, listen to music, or watch some comedy. You get, whatever it takes to help you relax and get revved up. Music especially has been shown to have a profound psychological effect on us, and listening to some high energy tunes can help you to get physicked up and motivated. Then fourth, be human. So you don't need to feel like you need to put, or you shouldn't feel like you need to put yourself on a level above your audience to be taken serious. Like, you connect better if you let your humanness show. Tell personal stories, be real, and let the audience in on your emotions. So be open. So such an open presentation opens up chance for connection, for relating with the audience, which is also good for you as the presenter or the person speaking that audience, because you also get chance to connect with people. Because one of the advantages of public speaking is that it opens up and it brings social connections to us that are of important use. Then number five, tell a joke. You get to tell a joke. So this isn't to say that your entire speech needs to be a comedy routine, but telling some light-hearted jokes and adding in some humor throughout your talk can help engage the audience and lighten the mood. Yeah, just like I do in my videos. You tell some jokes so that you don't get bored as you're watching. You get though you're learning, but you learn as you enjoy. So it lightens up the mood. There is no need for you to make the people put on them the bulk of the what you're talking about. You need to feel free, tell your joke, but still, although this shouldn't go without saying. Like you should never make a joke at the expense of someone in the audience. No, make your jokes in line with your whatever you're communicating, just like I do. Anyway, uh, just like make your jokes when they're in line with what you're talking about. Make it about your presentation, or if there is a need to pinpoint out someone, you do it on yourself. Don't make a joke at the expense of any individual in the audience. It is not professional, it's not good. You actually lose respect if you attempt to go this route. You just imagine if you were the one, or you were among the audience and the presenter did something like that. Like, it's not good. Just, I think you get how it can be like. So just avoid that. Then sixth, keep it light. Like, you shouldn't try to instruct your audience with your tremendous wealth of infinite wisdom. Like, they'll get bored and you will lose them. Like, you don't need sometimes you need to keep it simple. Like, there is no need of sometimes it is better. Some people may have a mindset of maybe having a lot to present is uh, is what is good, but instead it is the other opposite. The more simpler your content is, the more like the better your presentation. Like, you need to keep things short and sweet. You should make things simple. Avoid complex language or making complexing things in your presentation. Remember, like a good public speaker is that person who is good at simplifying things for the audience. Like, you make sure you make the complex things simpler, so that way you make it fun for your audience and fun for you, instead of giving them lots of stuff that will just make them bored because it is too much. So focus on distilling your lessons into 2 or 3 points, or any number but few points, and then teach them through examples, anecdotes, and easily digestible tidbits. That way you have the best presentation. Then seventh, pause. So taking deep breaths can help calm your nerves. So pause and breathe deeply after you make a point. Like pausing for a few seconds shows your audience that you're confident and not rushing your material. There is no need to rush your material. No one is chasing you. There is like pausing is good because it helps you also to imagine if you talk without pausing, you talk continuously. Time comes whereby you have like you're uncomfortable, you can no longer take it on, so it feels heavy and uninteresting to your audience because they'll also not be in position to follow up and you end up losing them. So feel free to pause, take a deep breath, and then proceed. Let's say after a point. Then number 8, like, don't try to sell something. Like, doing a presentation, if your presentation is not a sales presentation, better avoid selling something because like, there is enough pressure when you're on the stage, and the last thing you will want to be doing is trying to sell something. Like, it's not clever and it's not polite. Your presence on stage is enough publicity for the moment. Don't try to slip a sales pitch in. You will only regret it, unless otherwise. If let's say you are doing a presentation and maybe you put it in your plans that at the end, and like what I'm trying to trace this. Let's like I'm doing this video, it is about public speaking. So maybe at the end, if I offer any public speaking courses, or I have this an organization or website online that offers such public speaking courses, I can put in that at the end. That is very easy because it is in line with what I'm talking. So it is like I'm almost not selling, but I'm just informing you that in case you need more help, you can try our free online courses. So that way it's not selling. It's not like selling. The other selling of trying to sell something during a presentation, but when it is not a sales presentation, it is just like it won't work out. Like maybe you are doing a presentation, but you also want to take advantage to sell your product. You get, like, it may not work out and you only regret it, unless if you do it like I've, I've, I've illustrated. Then number 9, don't fear your audience. Like, don't fear the crowd. I know it is easier said than done, but when it comes to it, giving a speech is basically like having a group conversation, but with a few more people, and of course you're the only one talking. Yeah, so that is the only difference. So the fact is that most of the crowd will be rooting for you anyway. Otherwise they wouldn't be there. So you're in a good company, so feel free, feel comfortable. There's no need to fear. You just tell yourself, talk to yourself, just like we said earlier, and see that you deal with that fear, because there is no need for you to fear the audience. Yeah, just feel with that nervousness, that fear, and everything will be okay. Then the other thing is the last one, feel free when you make mistakes. Like, there is no shame in making mistakes as you learn. Like, your first speech is just that, your first. So don't worry if you're not talking like a seasoned pro or professional. So you will get better in time. Just remember, we are our own worst critics. Like, you may not notice or remember the mistakes that other speakers make, but you can be sure that they notice them. So if you're not willing to make mistakes, then you won't be able to improve. Like, simply, just know that when you make a mistake, it is you who realizes it more than other people do. So don't hold on that mistake, because even you may realize it, but when even other people have not realized it, so you signifying that you've made a mistake will instead ruin the whole thing. So just remember that a great speaker isn't perfect by any means, but they are passionate about their messages and are able to convey that passion to their audiences. So don't worry about being the best speaker of the night. Instead, focus on your enthusiasm and your drive. Think on the purpose behind your speech, channel some of that into your message, and then you give a powerful talk. Otherwise, if you're watching this video and you've ever had a chance to do public speaking, you can share with us in the comment section how you relax and distress before the big event. Yeah, let's just share. Yeah, there are maybe things I've not looked at, but you can bring them up and we share. Yeah, anyways, this is the end of this video. We shall be looking at another thing somehow related to this one. The next video, which will be how to pull off the nervousness before a presentation, which is also somehow related to the fear before a presentation. So we shall look at that in the next video. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share with people that may need it. Otherwise, be blessed.